Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. We are near the end of the season. We're in the final stretch. As Michael, who is in the chat, you might say we're in our last 2 miles of the marathon. And to preview Aston Villa against Tottenham Hotspur, I've got Martin and Kevin. First of all, Martin, how are you doing, mate? Great to see you again.
Yeah, doing good. Thanks for asking. Obviously looking forward to this match tomorrow, and hopefully 3 points. And please God, Man United do us a favour, of all teams to try and ask for a favour. But, you know, hopefully we can get to 3 points and really put us in a good position on the final day.
Absolutely. We're going to get into all of that. Kev, fresh from our fans forum with Justin on Tuesday night, all positivity. I felt like that was the most positive podcast I've been on in about 3 years. Yeah, ever.
And considering as well, we've seen Champions League qualification in the last few years as well. Like it says a lot, doesn't it? That, but yeah,
it does. How are you looking forward to tomorrow night or Friday night's game against Tottenham?
Yeah, mate, I'm really looking forward to it. To be honest, I think it's going to be one of those games where we've got such expectation going into it, and normally with Villa you're a bit like, oh, I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm supremely confident because of their situation, because of our situation. It's not the most confident I've ever been against a game against Spurs.
Yeah, it's got a lot of excitement about it, I think, and I think so many Villa fans are so excited for the opportunity to see Villa in the last home game. We've got such a great position to be in terms of the run that we've been on, the opportunity to win the game and get ourselves right in the shape of Champions League football, as Martin said. So we just got to take it now. We just got to take it with both hands and really go for it. Loads of people in the chat. We've got Kari in the chat. We've got Sai in the chat. Good evening, James, Stephen, Matty, Carly, Michael, as I said before. Bear in the Gardens here. Michael, Dimex here. Great to have you all. And as he says, 2 miles to go. Last energy gel taken. Now running hard for the line. And Gary is here. Hi lads, Battleship Grey, my favorite color paint. Is that your paint behind you, Martin, or is that mine? I don't know. Or is that yours? Actually, we've all got the grey. But yeah, we like it. Mr. Green says Mr. Green says you're looking fresh today, Martin. I mean, apparently the best looking on the podcast.
What about Rich?
Mate, I don't know. Someone was in the comments after the last show saying that it's clearly you, Kev. I was gonna screenshot and say, have you been appearing as an alias on the comments?
What do you mean? Someone said what? I'm confused.
Someone in the comments on the last podcast me and Martin did, the reaction to the Bournemouth win. Yeah, Martin's good lady posted in the chat that Martin was the best looking on the pod. But someone watched it afterwards and said, no. It is clearly Kevin. So I don't know who that was. I don't know.
I think it was Michael.
It probably was Michael, knowing you, actually.
And as we know, Michael's always right. So yeah. But Mr. Green, me and Rich are here trying our best here.
Kev, you look gorgeous.
Thanks, Dickie. Yeah. Martin's got about 20 years on us. How old are you, Mark?
28, 29 next month.
Jesus Christ.
Young whippersnapper. Yeah. Anyway, we've got sidetracked. Make sure you all hit that like button, though, people, and hit the subscribe button. We're about 20 away from 5,600 So well on the road to 6,000 subscribers, which would be amazing if we could hit that across the pre-season. It'd be fantastic. We've got loads planned over pre-season as well. I was just thinking I want to try and do my old one-a-day videos. So we've got a lot of work to do. Mark's got a lot of work to do with those thumbnails, and he's done a lot of work today with some great information, some great data, which we will share with you later on. But I just wanted to talk Tottenham first, and I'll come to you first, Martin, because obviously our opponents had a really, really, really bad Premier League season, but have somehow managed to get into the Europa League final. It's obvious that they're going to put a lot of priority into that game next Wednesday. But Postecoglou has already been sort of questioned around making sure he keeps up to the integrity of the competition, of the Premier League and everything like that. But how do you see him approaching this game on Friday night?
Well, look, obviously this season's been a big downfall for Tottenham. You know, they have 20 losses in the Premier League. I think that's probably the most for Tottenham in a Premier League season, if I'm not right. If I'm correct. But I think the way Andrew's going to look at this is that he's going to rotate. He will play a few senior players, might play a few players that are fringes just to try and keep everybody fit, because he has got big injury hits now as well at the minute. So he wants to keep big players in a bit of a cotton wool. Like, you know, James Maddison's out for the rest of the season. Kulusevski now has to get surgery. So he's probably going to look at some of his most, you know, big players, assets and go, right, you're not playing this game, you're not playing, because he's going to need everybody available that he can for the final. So he's not, it's not, I know the club asked for this change, but in the same sense, they're still going to have, you know, two eyes on the final. They're going to want to have Champions League, despite sitting 16th in the league. I don't know how a Europa League final is two teams sitting 16th and 17th in the Premier League table. But look, it is what it is. But I just definitely think that Ange is not really going to prioritise this game. He'll be heavily rotated, and then straight after that on the plane to the Europa League final.
Yeah. I kind of see that. I mean, they've still got a good, decent squad. I mean, I know he complained a lot about injuries, and you've sort of titled one of the pictures "Injuries, Mate." And he's been sort of never backwards in coming forwards about the problems with injuries. I think some of the Tottenham fans wished he didn't make them sort of excuse and wish he was a bit more like Unai and just get on with it. But Kev, are we at risk of being a little bit not complacent? I'm pretty sure the players won't be like that, but as supporters, are we a bit at risk of kind of thinking that Tottenham might take it a bit too easily and sort of not put everything into this game? Because I think that they will still want to win, and they still will want to put a lot into the game.
Look, professional footballers, right? So you know, you expect a certain level of standard and performance, and Ange is no mug. You know, he's obviously he's had his battles this season, but you got to give him his credit. He's got his team to this final, but he's you know, he always wins a trophy in his second season, so you better lump on them to win the final on the Wednesday after our game. But I don't think there's any way. If you look at that team, right, and that team of players, is anyone going to go from that team onto bigger and better things than Spurs? You probably look at it and think Kulusevski could get a big move. Son's probably past it now in terms of his top level. You know, Bentancur could go somewhere. You know, who knows? Maddison, probably not. Is he going to go beyond that? My point is, this is probably going to be a lot of these players. I mean, Matthews tells young. You get my point. There's obviously played. Porro's good. Van de Ven, we could keep going, right?
Yeah.
But it will be for some of them, and it could be for a lot of them, the biggest chance that they're going to get to win a significant trophy. Particularly if they stay at Spurs for the rest of their career, particularly because they won't win anything. Ask Harry Kane how that went. So I don't think if there's any way you can not have even a little part of your eye on that game. And if you think about it, right, you go in a bit too hard in one tackle, and then you've got a little knock and you're out for a week, you're missing the final. So I'm not suggesting they won't try, but I think there's levels to the level of effort, and I would be amazed with how much we need to give it everything we've got if they can compete with us toe to toe. I think if we're physical, I genuinely think if we're physical, I think we're gonna win the battle. And obviously it's Villa Park. Thanks to the Premier League for moving it. I'm really delighted. Friday night under the lights. Sure, the fans aren't who had their travel plans ruined, but the atmosphere should be absolutely raw because there's going to be the tribute to Peter McParland. Obviously, there's going to be the tribute to Ollie Watkins for getting the record. So I think it's going to be a great atmosphere, and I just can't see anything other than a Villa win.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about the atmosphere and moving to a Friday night. And Martin, you've titled this big atmosphere needed. And that's absolutely true, isn't it? And Villa fans are going to have a bit of a siege mentality. There's nothing like a bit of a conspiracy theory to get people up for the challenge and up for the fight, and to feel like the Premier League and everyone else is against us. So it's certainly going to be a big atmosphere, and in particular, it being our last home game of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. We're under the lights. It's just perfect for the occasion for us. Get a really big win, and obviously we are going to be playing first, so it will play into the minds of another game with Chelsea against Man United, where if we're winning, say, at half time because of the fans are really pushing us and we're getting into good leads, into good positions, all of a sudden Chelsea are probably thinking, well, what's the score of the match? And then all of a sudden they'll probably rush it. They might skip it up, and then you have ourselves who will definitely be on it. But I just think that the fans will put on a show for us. They will bring 100% into Villa Park, because it's the last home game of the season, and we haven't really lost a home game, I think, in the league since Arsenal.
That's right.
We've been so good at home. Like, we really have. We've dominated teams. We've battered them physically, in possession, off the ball. So I have no doubt the fan base will bring a big atmosphere. They absolutely will. It's just whether or not can the players put it on.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about the players, and we'll get your much debated about predicted lineup on shortly, Martin. But Kev, I think fast start is needed, isn't it? I think that would get everyone going. And as Martin has said, 45 minutes kickoff before that Chelsea game. So much, and I've said all these last couple of weeks on it, and on our shows, on the shows I do with the Loaded Mag boys, I've said so much in this running is about mindset and mind games and psychology. Because you looked at that Forest game last week, they were on their knees. Once they got to that 2-1 up, they were struggling. They couldn't run. And then you look at Man City even, it gets more and more desperate to try and get that goal, more and more, you're trying that a little bit harder. If we can get a fast start and get 2 or 3-0 up at half time, the pressure that puts on Chelsea, again, even if they're home against Manchester United, their fans will be like, we need a goal, we need a goal, we need a goal. So it can play so much of a part, can't it?
It's huge, mate. It really is. It really is. Psychology, momentum, everything. It's huge. No matter what you think, your brain starts going to different places because you can see right in front of you the game being changed right in front of your eyes, and you see all the permutations. The one thing I think as well, which I think is probably hasn't been looked at loads, but I've thought about this today, looking at the table, is that this is a home game. Obviously, is your chance to score more goals, right? Away at Man United, I don't think it's going to be a hatful. Now, I'm not getting carried away here, but I think if we've got 5 goals, we're off Forest in terms of the goal difference. If they were to say lose by a goal to West Ham and we were to get a 4-0 win, for example, which is what I've predicted, they're going to ruin that for later on, then we're level on goals with Forest. And you never know. You never know. It might come down to that the last day of the season. You never know. So there are all the rest of the teams are too far ahead of us. You'd need like 10-0 wins and stuff. So, it actually might be our only opportunity to score a few goals. A fast start, you get at it, you get at them. I mean, listen, I'd take a 1-0 win off, Ezri Konsa's earlobe in the last minute at this moment. But whatever it takes. But it could.
I don't know if that's going to happen, judging by our centre backs prowess from corners.
No, you're probably right. But you never know. It might be a shot that hits him.
Yeah.
But yeah, and let's be clear. Like if we go into half time and it's 0-0 or we're 1-0 down, then Chelsea are going to get a lot of confidence from that. And the other way around, Yeah, we said this on the pod the other night. I just don't know if a lot of that Chelsea team have got the experience,
Yeah.
and have got the kahunas, for these sort of big moments, these big games. And they look like they were absolutely, yes, Jay, I love that. They look like
Everyone's looking fresh.
everyone's
Martin's looking fresh. Kev's looking fresh. Excuse me.
Rich, you're always looking fresh, mate. Always looking fresh. Do you remember when Chelsea were flying sort of pre-Christmas and everyone was saying, "Oh yeah, they're gonna romp it,"
Title
Palmer's,
race.
yeah, title race and all that, and all of a sudden, they've obviously dropped off a bit, and I just can't see it happening. But then the other thing is this: Forest are on the wane. Let's be clear, and they've got Man United. Man United at home and a Forest on the wane away. So, actually looking at those games, who would you rather play? I think Forest away will be hard, but Michael knows.
Yeah. He does. Checks in the post, Michael.
I think we've spoken more about how good we all look tonight.
Oh no, in the match, yeah. We're losing viewers by the second.
Over 16 minutes. I can see the comments now. I've had negative on Twitter today already for you, Mark. But you'll be like, these bunch of they're all up their own arses, like on the Villa Park podcast. They're all obsessed with how they look. Get over yourselves, lads.
The Villa Park podcast. I didn't realize an episode would take me out with Paddy McGuinness.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm 44 and single, so I'll take what I can get,
mate. On to Villa players. Emery's presser, and he's talked about players available. Unfortunately, Yuri Tillemans isn't going to be fit, and Marcus Rashford isn't going to be featuring this season now because this was the only game he could play. Possibly he can't play against Manchester United, and as we know, we've got Jacob Ramsey suspended. So, I mean, this is still though where the squad game comes in, Martin. I won't tease your lineup yet, but the likes of Bailey, McGinn, Marlon, Rogers, obviously still in Asensio. We've still got great players that could still come in and fill those spots.
Absolutely. Look, it's not about having 11 players on the pitch. It's about the other players that are sitting on the bench and the impact that they'll have from that area. You want to have a big squad. You want to have 2 or 3 players in each position competing, trying to battle for a place. And, yes, some will probably be frustrated at the fact that they haven't been playing. Some will obviously might throw the prams away. You never know what goes on behind closed doors. But, everyone has showed a great attitude. Everyone's kind of said it in all their interviews that we're here to work hard. We're here to get into them Champions League places and make it on the regular. Whatever their role is, that's what they'll do. And that's a good thing to see that they all come across like that in their interviews, especially Marlon, who, he might be frustrated he's not playing enough games, being left out of the Champions League squads as well. But he's put in great shifts when he has come on. He has chipped in with the goals. He really has, made a big impact from the bench. And it's great to see that his attitude was there. And then when the games he has started, he was still great as well to show that the quality that he's got it. So there's probably a big part for him to play next season. That was the thing from Emery's press conference. And Emery even said in the press conference that he doesn't want to even go on holidays. He just wants to keep playing. He's motivated. He loves how the team's playing. They love how they're competing. And they just want to keep playing games. And you're right, because we're on form at this minute. Like, we're one of the highest form, actually, we're the highest form team in the last 10 games.
There you go.
And
since January,
the points
since
per
the
window
closed. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the points per game since the transfer window. Villa are on 2.17. Liverpool and Newcastle being the closest ones, albeit I know Liverpool have won the league and Newcastle will probably far ahead of us anyway. But we really have shown since the January transfer window and the players that we brought in, and Marcus Rashford, Disasi, Asensio, who was chipped in with goals himself as well, Marlon, Garcia, has really lifted us and, brought them spirits back, to really try and get these Champions League places. At one point, Forest was sitting 10, 12 points ahead of us. To now we're 1 point ahead of them. If they lose the weekend and we win, we're 4 points clear.
Called it.
You did.
And it was Kev called it perfectly that if we win this against them on Forest, that all of a sudden this Forest super team is catchable.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. We didn't just catch them, we overtook them.
Yeah.
So
we've got to, and we've still got to keep that job, still got to keep ahead of them. But yeah, absolutely. Emery's Kingdom of Aston, 150 years, 1874, up the effing Villa. I mean, what a name that is on Excess. Marlon is going to be dynamite. And the point I wanted to make there, Kev, is another sort of stat that Mark and Martin have put together is the goal scored by substitutes in the 24-25 season. And we've sort of waxed lyrical about this impact that a lot of our substitutes have had this season and what Unai Emery's wanted from the team. And since January, you look at the points tally and the substitutes and the squad that he's had available have been massive in that. 11 goals scored by substitutes this season. But we've massively talked about, the players that finish the game are almost more important than the players that start the game. And if Marlon isn't to start, the impact that he can have with half an hour to go, if Asensio doesn't start, the impact that he could have, Bailey or McGinn or whoever else it is, Barkley, Maatson, these players can have a huge, huge impact on the game in both of these games. And that what I think has been a huge part of this run that we've been on. And also, obviously, will stand us in good stead for tomorrow night against Tottenham.
Yeah, we've said it time and time again this season, mate, the impact off the bench, whether these players are actually getting goals or just, contributing, in terms of goals, assists, or just key play, from the very first game of the season where you and I were there, West Ham away, when it was Maatson to JJ to John Duran, who we've forgotten about now, haven't we, of course, because, that goal of the season hasn't been mentioned, but I understand why. I mean, that was 3 subs linking up, to win a game against a team that were pretty fancied at the start of the season. Obviously, under Lopetegui, and there was a lot of talk about West Ham winning the window, and we had the weapons off the bench to do what they couldn't do at home to take that game away. And we've got such a range of options. This is the thing. Does he want to calm it down with a Barkley, or does he want to add a bit more steel there with an Onana? Does he want a bit of pace from the flanks with a Maatson or a Bailey or a Marlon up top to be a clear goal threat, which he is? You look at it. Do you want to shore it up in terms of a Power or Mings? Options everywhere, and yeah, I think it gives us a real. I mean, we've said it before. I think we've got the best squad in the league, arguably. I mean, arguably, I'm not saying definitely, but I think you can make a case for it. And that for Aston Villa is, considering that, a lot of this team that are doing really well, the ones that were there under Gerrard, were not even in the team under Gerrard, they're on the bench. It's just a staggering situation. So if this game is tightly poised, and hopefully it's not, with 65, 70 minutes, then I can't believe what I'm reading. Then yeah. I mean, was that a joke from Jack about that?
We go off topic here, but yeah, it was a little bit like
It's quite spicy.
I thought he had a fiance as well.
He's got a fiance and a baby.
I think it was fake. I don't think it's real.
Is it not real?
Oh, okay.
I mean, excellent bants, but I mean, unless they're like pals, unless him and his missus and Dougie and Alicia are like, partying together, and it's like a little in joke. But anyway, we digress. Yeah, if it's tight, if it's 65, 70 minutes and we need to change it, then we know we've got options. Whereas Spurs, they made a lot of changes in the last league game. They've got some decent players, but these are players. We can't get away from this, right? I know the record's not great, and we'll talk about it shortly. Spurs are shit this season. Pardon my French. Don't put us down there, YouTube. I mean, I honestly have thought about Spurs and Man United this season, and again, another one of my many random thoughts. Because the bottom 3 are so bad, right? Because they're just championship teams. I think they should make it 4 relegation spots. It's not fair otherwise. 4 relegation spots. Because in any other season, they've not even got 40 points, either of them.
I know.
40. Spurs and Man United. So we have to look at it, fine, they're a dangerous team. They've got some players. They've been consistently rubbish this season.
And the worst thing is if they're talking about the integrity of the competition, they've basically phoned in their performances ever since they got to like the quarterfinals of the Europa League. As soon as they got there, and then they knew that they weren't going to get relegated, they've basically just gone, nah, we can't be asked for the Premier League.
Yeah. Absolutely. And obviously we can see how effective they can be, because we had a really bad day, didn't we, when we played them away from home early in the season, back in the last year. we know they can be effective, but we were particularly bad that day. Let's not beat around the bush. But since I think it's probably since Christmas. I mean, I think from the longer than I can remember, they've just been losing to pretty much all and sundry.
Yeah.
They might have put in the odd decent performance. They've obviously managed to get through in Europe, but we've got to look at this for what it is. We're in the middle of May and we're playing a team that are in the bottom 5 of the Premier League. In another season, that's I don't know.
At home as well. At home.
Say that's a Burnley or a Norwich or a QPR type team. At home, 2 games to go, pushing for Champions League. You're winning that game. If this was Man City or Liverpool at home, I'd be backing us to win the game. So, you can't get carried away. And I don't think we need to caveat that anymore. Clearly, we're professional. We're not going to caveat. We don't need to caveat every time that, well, you don't want to take it for granted and be complacent. Of course not. But we should beat them convincingly. We really should. They've been abject this season, and a lot of those players need to take a good old long hard look in the mirror. Hopefully not Friday evening. Don't look in the mirror, just before the Villa game and start to get a bit of a reckoning in terms of performing better. But across 36 games, this is the level of performance they put out. They're barely just over a point a game. I don't think we need to worry about it really.
Yeah, well, we'll get predictions later. I think you gave us a teaser before. Michael says, batter Spurs physically, do Man United a favour, then they do us a favour on the last day. Seeking Oda says he always worried that the crap teams suddenly become world class when they face us. Emery's Kingdom says Spurs or United getting the Champions League spot is wrong. They should just get a buyback into that trophy. Michael said we need to clatter someone in the first minute. Michael, I didn't know you had that in you, mate. But I absolutely agree with you.
You always want Michael as the Mr. Nice Guy or something, don't you? And then just to see that, it's a bit weird.
I think Gary mentioned about not giving them not giving them the respect and just getting into them as well. And I totally agree. Kevin Jeans, as always, relax. We've got this. We're taking it to the final day. I guess a few little sort of debatable points and a few comments around Morgan Rogers. And obviously, huge congratulations to him for getting nominated for the Young Player of the Year award. And we did have a comment in there about people getting in and voting for him before that. Please do that. I think it was Alan says, Morgan Rogers to win Young Player of the Year. Villa fans, make sure you vote for him. And I totally agree with that, totally echo that. He's had a fantastic season and he's still got so much growing and so much more development to go, which is just so scary. But a few Villa fans have talked about sort of maybe him being a little bit tired, Martin, a bit jaded. And when you look at this in terms of the minutes played per season, you can kind of see why. And he has been Emery's go-to man, hasn't he? And 1,137 minutes played. Is that since February? Is that for the season?
It's since February.
Okay. So, I mean, that's crazy. So, yeah, he's obviously been utilized a lot. And Villa fans have said, look, he needs a rest, he needs time off, he needs this, but he's starting every game, playing up 80, 85 minutes. Plus, even if he's brought off, it's sort of with 5 minutes to go or something. But do you think it's just one more push for him for the last couple of games of the season, Martin? Or would you see him being rested at all?
No, I don't see him being rested at all. I think if he has that many minutes since February and Emery clearly shows that he's the go-to man in his system, I don't see why you should rest him now, especially in these last 2 games of the season, unless he's been injured. That rules him out for the rest of the season, but definitely not. I think he's going to play. And the one thing, although congratulations to him on getting the Young Player of the Year nomination, but I just feel like a lot of his better performances have been through the middle or when he's out left. I don't think he's as effective as he is on the right. Don't get me wrong, he works hard, he still plays a good game, but I just don't think he's as effective in the other positions because we've had to accommodate Asensio and Rashford. And I just feel like that's kind of hampered Rodgers a little bit in terms of his development and getting higher and higher and higher. So I just think that Rodgers, for me, needs to be back through the middle or out left in these final 2 games because that's his best positions when he likes to cut in, or if he's in the middle making marauding runs through the lines and carrying the ball forward and drawing the foul. Where when he's out on the right, It's not that he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just his job is a little bit different because he has to track back and cover Matty
right.
Cash.
I was just
pass
about to
back
say
into
that.
midfield, and then he's trying to do his own game on top of that. It's not working for him. Where if he goes to the middle or out left, he's a bit more freedom, and that's what I love from him. When he has that freedom, he's easily one of the best players in the Premier League.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was just about to say, you know, his job on the right is totally different to his job on the left or through the middle. And fair play to him because he's doing it and he's making that sacrifice for the team. But you do see him having to be a lot more defensive on that right-hand side, albeit he set up the goal for Ollie Watkins on Saturday. Kerry said Rodgers should win the award. Lots of people have already voted. Cybervillain said he feels like Emery's trying to develop Rodgers on the right. Emery's Kingdom says Rodgers has had so many poor games on the right. In the middle or left, play him left while Ramsey is suspended. I agree, and as Martin said there, what do you think on the Morgan Rodgers situation, Kev?
Well, there's 2 games left. So, you know, I mean, he's a young, fit lad. So I think he's going to be all right. If there's 25 games left, Champions League, you know, final to come, FA Cup final to come. What could have been? Anyway, God, I had a little moment of sadness then. Then I'd understand it, but no, for me, if you want to win these games, you're playing him centrally. You're playing him centrally, unless you feel like he's giving you enough work rate on the flanks, but. I'm saying you want to play him centrally. Who knows what he wants, doesn't he? He'll play Asensio there, put Maatsen on the left wing, and I don't know, put Barkley up top, and we'll probably still win. I just think he's key, isn't he? He's been key for this season. He's been absolutely brilliant. The debate, obviously, in terms of these kind of attacking players is what do they contribute in terms of goals and assists, and interestingly, if you compare him to Ramsey in terms of goals and assists, it's obviously a big difference. Love Ramsey, great player, but I think that Rodgers is giving you so much more in terms of end product. And yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what he does actually regarding Ramsey. I don't think it'll be Rodgers that'll go out to the left. So
Ramsey's suspended.
Yeah, sorry, not injured, suspended. Yeah.
He's just. Yeah, well, we'll get Martin's team up. We'll get it on it in a second because the other debate we'll talk about that, and Kevin Jeans has his say on that debate. A few people talk about Bailey or Marlon. Adam saying that him being on the right shows Emery doesn't have that much trust in Marlon or Bailey. I think with Daniel Marlon, I think it's more a sense of he needs him to be the second option up front. And if he played him on the right and then Watkins up front, he hasn't then got the option to, if one of them got injured, if Watkins got injured or whatever, then he then hasn't got that option to make that change. He's just got that. So, yeah, I think that's more in his thinking. Shane says Rodgers does have energy throughout the game when needed. I believe he can do it. But let's get your starting lineup, your predicted lineup, and I actually think. This week, I think you might be right with this one. I think you might get 11 out of 11. But talk us through it.
Well, if I get 11 out of 11, I am texting my best friend Andy, who comments every week on the Twitter. But yeah, in goals, picks himself. Matty Cash on the right for the experience because I don't think Andres Garcia is going to come anywhere near that. Luca Digne to play at home. He likes to start with Luca Digne at home matches. Konza and Torres. The reason I've gone with Torres is at home we like to play a lot of possession, so Pau Torres is kind of key to that. And of course he's a favourite. Emery and there always is this debate: does he go with Mings or Pau Torres? But Emery has shown his reluctancy to keep going with Pau Torres, which is nothing wrong with that. He's still capable of playing, but at the same time, Mings is not exactly 100% fit with that knee of his, so you have to kind of nurture him where you can. And then the midfield of Onana and Kamara, I thought they were really impressive against Bournemouth. They absolutely two monsters battling each other out in that midfield. And it was great to see that physical dominance, which we've kind of missed in the last few years, a few games now or so. Asensio in the middle, John McGinn out on the right, Ollie Watkins up top, and I've got Morgan Rodgers out on the left. I feel like that's going to be the lineup. The only difference I can probably see if Martin does change, he might go with Maatsen left back. That's probably the only thing I can kind of see him doing.
Yeah. Kev, any thoughts from yourself on this one?
I couldn't see Rodgers going left, but I mean, the more and more I'm listening to Martin, the more and more I'm convinced that he's right. So, fair enough, Mark. Well done. I don't know. Part of me is like, does he maybe play Maatsen, sort of left midfield, possibly, as an option? Give you sort of genuine width. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see McGinn, not on the right. McGinn sort of, and maybe see Bailey come in, and maybe see McGinn for Asensio possibly, or Rodgers in there, and there could be a variety of twists on this. Bailey's someone I do think is a bit of an outside shout, and obviously now Ramsey's out, that can give you, again, if he's on one of his good days, which I know are few and far between, but could give you some kind of attacking potency, and he has got a bit of a point to prove. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised actually if Bailey maybe got the nod as well.
Interesting. Let's see what some of the comments are saying. Standing on the word says Marlon, please, not Bailey. PJJ said Uno will put Super John on the left. He bets. Ross says Mings might have been brought off against Bournemouth, so he's fresher for Spurs. Is Mings not fit? Said Mark. I think he is fit, but I kind of agree with Martin. I think he sees that we'll probably have, when we're at home, we'll probably be the team that will have more possession, and we'll need to play balls, through the central areas a little bit more. So I feel like Pau Torres will start. I guess, is Solanke going to start? Because if Richarlison starts, I can see more case for Pau. If it's Solanke starting, I could maybe see more shout for Mings. James says, I can't believe you don't think Olsen isn't starting.
I don't make the rules.
Yeah. James Meakin says he thinks Maatsen will play left back.
I was saying, I think that's probably the only thing I can kind of see happening.
Yeah. Tristan said if we want to be more on the front foot and more attacking, then yes, maybe Maatsen will start. And James, we need a pacey winger crossing balls in to get the best out of Asensio if he plays. Michael said he would put John in the middle and Asensio on the bench with Marlon on the right. I think a lot of people do that, but I didn't think Asensio would have a chance of starting against Bournemouth, but he did. So Emery's clearly looking for him to unlock defenses, get on the ball. I mean, even at times when he's on the fringes of the game, you can see the quality that he's got. You can see the positions that he gets into, Kev. Like, he just plays the game sometimes on a different trajectory than any other player.
Yeah, you do wonder why sometimes actually the efficacy lately has been because maybe people haven't been on his wavelength. Yeah, there is a real sort of just sense of style and suaveness about the way he plays. The way he finds space, gets into position, some of his touches. It's a shame he's not been as effective in recent weeks, because actually, if he had been the level of effectiveness he'd had at the start of the season, we might well be a bit further. Well, he didn't really turn up in the FA Cup semi-final, and he missed a golden chance to equalise against PSG. And look, every player can have their moments. We get that kind of thing, but it may well be the last time Villa fans see him. See him at Villa Park. None of us know what's going to happen. Rashford, Asensio. I don't think Disassi will sign, but I think Rashford and Asensio.
Well, look, it's been interesting that all of the loan players have been mentioned in press sort of rumours today, and all with sort of positive overtures about Aston Villa. Like, Disassi has been like, oh, Aston Villa look like they want to continue with Disassi next season. Asensio is saying he's happy at Villa and looking at signing him for between 13 and 15 million. And then, there's been talk over the last couple of days around Rashford sort of being possibly looking at, taking a pay cut and all this sort of stuff. So it's interesting that all of these stories have come out now, and there's a couple of games left. But like you say, Kev, we shall absolutely see what happens with them. But I do see Asensio starting tomorrow. I don't see any reason for him not to. And there's a few people that talked about, Emery's King says he's not sure about McGinn will start, but I don't know, man. This type of game, not night game, one in the tempo. You've got to have McGinn, and he's the captain. You've got to have him in the team.
His first name on the team sheet for this game. Yeah. And the last time we played Spurs at home, he didn't go too well for him. So.
Yeah.
Positivity, Kev. Positivity.
Yeah, well, I'm saying positively that he won't do that. I think he'll be behaving himself a little bit. I'm probably getting stuck in a little bit. Yeah, this has got McGinn. There's never been a game all season that's cried out for McGinn more than this game.
Exactly. And guys, please do smash that like button and hit the subscribe button. We are almost at 200 watching tonight. Very, very close to 200 watching, and we're very close to 5,600 subscribers. So if you're watching on X, please do like and retweet, or whatever it's called, repost, and follow us at Villa Park Pod, at Marto Leonardo, and at KTAVFC. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all totally free. If you do want to become a member, just $1.99, and you can become an official Villa Park Pod follower. And if you want to do any super chats and guarantee that your chat gets read out and support the channel, then please do click the $ and help support the channel. So let's talk. We have to talk the running. We always have to talk the running. Obviously, every team's got 2 games left, but we know what games the teams have got. But we want to kind of talk the scenarios as well. I mean, we've come prepared this show tonight. We've come prepared on this show tonight, viewers. Thanks to Mark for all this, and thanks to Martin for the ideas. So, for Villa to qualify for the Champions League, Villa must win both games versus Spurs and Manchester United to give us a better chance. We also need one of the following to happen. So, Chelsea to drop points against either Manchester United or Nottingham Forest, Man City to lose to either Bournemouth or Fulham, Newcastle to drop points in both games against Arsenal and Everton, and Arsenal to lose both games against Newcastle and Southampton.
I got a question on this without wanting to throw a spanner in the works. But for Newcastle, so if they dropped a point in Arsenal and Everton game, would that be enough, or would losing one of them and winning them be enough? Does that make sense?
So the point, they're currently on 66 points, aren't they?
Yeah. So if they get 2 draws and we win the 2, we go above Newcastle by a point.
Yeah. They essentially need 3 points out of final 2.
With the goal difference, they do,
with the goal difference. Yeah. So, which one do you think, or ones do you think are most likely? Is the most likely? Martin, I'll start with you.
I think Chelsea. I feel like, I don't know what it is. I know Man United are probably going to have, their eyes set in the Europa League final as well. But if anyone can do anything against Chelsea, it's Man United. They always seem to do well against Chelsea. And if they lose, and say, I know with Forest, if they lose to West Ham, then realistically all we need is a point on the final day, and that would be something I'd love, with that bit of breathing room, as opposed to, say, we win and Chelsea win, and then you have Forest win. But what happens? You'd have to hope for Forest to win, and then we'd have to go and do our thing then against Man United. So I think the best case scenario for me is for Chelsea to lose, Forest to lose, us to win, and then in the next game have Chelsea and Forest draw with each other, and then we're laughing.
Yeah, okay. James said City can't see City winning both. Sai says Bournemouth could mess Man City up. So a few people there. James said City could definitely lose to Bournemouth or Fulham. And Emery's Kingdom just say Chelsea lose. But a few people in the chat there, Kev, about Manchester City not being as certain as they maybe wanted to be previously.
Well, when I look at the permutations, I think the word is right there, which again, big shout out to Mark and obviously Martin for the work they've done on this, because it's goes under the radar a bit sometimes. So I really appreciate you guys. But when I looked at it, I was like, that Man City one there, they've got that covered. But Man City this season, I mean, you can't really legislate for anything. They played Southampton and couldn't beat them. That was something that no one expected. But then if you go back to one of the old pictures you showed, you brought up about the form since Christmas, whatever it was. Have you got that one there to show? Bournemouth are quite low down there.
Yeah.
So that shows to me that Bournemouth's form is particularly good, and Fulham are sort of like middling there. So neither of them are like absolutely flying lately in form, and Man City are 5th. So clearly they've improved. So I don't think Bournemouth are the Bournemouth they were early in the season, and I think that was showed against Villa. That I think they'd run out of gas a little bit. So yeah, I don't know if you pull up the permutations slide again, please. I feel like I'm at a conference here. Conference here. Next slide, next slide, please, Minion. I can't see Arsenal losing both games, so that's out of the question. I can see Chelsea. That's the one that's obvious for me. I think they'll drop points against either of those games, but I could also see Newcastle dropping points in both those games as well. I think Arsenal. I mean, listen, I could see Newcastle winning both those games, but I don't think Everton will be as easy as they think away and at home.
They don't get on with Everton. Everton they've got a bit of history.
Yeah,
we call them the Scouse Mackhams.
Yeah. The Sylvan Distan derby.
Yeah.
Just to touch on there, Kev, with Bournemouth and Fulham, you have to remember, I think, them two clubs are playing for something now themselves. That potential last spot of a European, competition if Man City win the FA Cup. So that means it's a Conference League place for a place in the league. But at the same time, Fulham are a home team. I think, if I'm correct, Fulham are home to Man City.
Yes.
And Bournemouth could easily disrupt Man City because you've seen them do it to Arsenal. They got a 2-2 draw. They won. They beat Arsenal.
Yeah, they won 2-1.
1-2-1. Great win. And then I know they lost to us, but at the same time, Arsenal had one eye on the Champions League. Now Man City might have one eye on the FA Cup. So these are all little things that maybe work in Bournemouth's favour. And then you have Fulham, who are very good at home this season.
Well, the thing is, Man City play on Tuesday against Bournemouth, so they'll have had their FA Cup. Hopefully, they win, and in terms of making 7th guaranteed for Europa League, and then they'll play Bournemouth on the Tuesday. So, but I just think so much hinges on us being first. Because, as I said before, all the pressure goes on every other team to make sure they get a result.
We can't finish first, mate. I've checked it mathematically; it's over.
Sorry.
Thanks. I was still hoping as well.
You must be so disappointed, mate.
Mate, honestly, I'm devastated. Like, every time we get to the point in the season where mathematically we can't win the league, I'm like, it rocks me. But I know what you mean. It's the fact that we're
okay, Kev. Mathematically, we can still finish second.
Yeah, we can.
We can. Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to win 10-0 against Spurs. Stephen said, my crazy prediction, all teams above Villa will draw this week.
Wow.
There you go.
What are the odds on that? Get a bet on that. We don't encourage betting, by the way, but what are the odds on that?
I don't bet, so...
James is it's gone off topic. No, I didn't buy the microphone from Ann Summers. It was another mail order site. There
was a joke there, but I won't say it.
That is hilarious. Hey, talking of slightly dodgy stuff. I'm sure everyone loves to see this. I saw Bonnie Blue the other day at the services. Bonnie Blue.
Blue. You weren't in a queue, were you, Kev?
I was deaf. I went.
Kevin, stop. Just stop.
I went to get a coffee.
Oh, did you? Did you go to get a coffee? Did you?
I saw Matty Cash the other day. I didn't have any.
Also, was Matty Cash with Bonnie Blue? Was that that's how you followed him? Is it?
It wasn't at the same time. So that was turn up for the books. I was like, she's the woman that's a bit of a hoe bag. Anyway, we move on from this. I didn't think we'd be going here tonight, but here we are.
Talking of Ann Summers.
I'm blaming James. I'm blaming James Meekin for this.
It's definitely James's fault.
The sex toys.
Anyway, we will round off. We'll round off the show with obviously our score predictions. So we'll bring that up. But I think just to bring the positivity back, because you said we can't win the league this season. It's now mathematically impossible. But Michael did have a question before for you, Kev. Title run next season?
100%. Why not? Look at our form under Unai. Look, we are not that far behind, considering he was taking over the shell, like the wreckage of the Gerrard era. I think we're only maybe 15, 20 points behind since Unai came on board. For me, look, Champions League qualification will make a huge, huge difference because of the players you can attract, right? If we get in the top 5, nobody And I mean, nobody in this league scares me. Nobody. You think about recent years, right? Going back 10, 15 years, you knew when you played a Man United, a Chelsea, a Man City, you were probably going to lose. Now, we beat Man City most of the time, and we nearly got a point against them away from home. Arsenal have got a great record against. Liverpool, we've not been brilliant against recent years, but I think we've always given them good games. If we can just get a bit of momentum, bit of consistency with the squad, why not? Why not? I really can't see. Are you adjusting that for later use? Sorry, I can't. I really can't see a situation where there's a standout team in the league. Man City aura's gone. We know that, and I don't think Liverpool are as good as the season has panned out to be. So, like, why not? Why can't we go on a title run? We've got the best manager in the world. We've got a great squad. We're going to add to it in the summer. If we finish top 5, we'll be able to attract even better players. And yeah, I'm up for it. Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. James, I'm trying to change the colour for you, but it's making it worse. What do you do when that happens? Oh, you probably no. And then I'm trying to find the vibrate mode. I know, mate. I know.
I love how we've gone from the start to all of us looking good. We're talking about the Villa to somehow getting to Bonnie Blue, and now all of a sudden Rich is on the
my microphone.
Yeah, microphone.
Yeah.
You brought it up.
Let's get into the score predictions. Let's look at ours, what we've got. So everyone in the chat, if you agree with us, put it in the chat and put your score predictions and scorers as well. So this is what we've gone for. I've gone for Aston Villa 4, Tottenham Hotspur 1. George and Sam have gone for Aston Villa 3, Tottenham 1. Kev, you've gone for a massive 4-0 win. And Martin, you've gone for a measly 3-0 victory. So Kev, 4-0 Aston Villa victory. Who are the scorers?
So it's going to be Ollie Watkins is going to get a couple of goals. He's going to get a couple. Morgan Rogers and Amadou Onana.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. He's going to get a towering header from a corner.
Love it. Sai says 3-0 Villa. Credo says 4-0 Villa. Dicky says 3-0 Watkins hat-trick. Carly says 3-0. So many people very, very confident. Steven says 3-1. Michael says 6-0. Now, that would help the goal difference. That would be huge.
Absolutely.
Adam going for a solid, professional 1-0 Villa. Haven't been full of goals lately, but we'll definitely take it. Definitely take it. PJJ says 4-1. Payback time. Ollie gets 2. Rogers and Super John McGinn. Ulvi says 5-2. Absolutely. And no predictions other than a Villa win, Kev. Absolutely agree with you there. Everyone is super confident. Steven says 5-0 up the Villa. Watkins, Brace, Rogers, Marlon, and McGinn. Michael says 3-0, sorry. And he agrees with you, Martin. So who is going to score in your eyes?
First, I'd like to say the only negativity in the score predictions is some people think we're actually going to concede to Tottenham.
Wasn't that you?
I kept the clean sheet.
No. He's gone for clean sheet. I've gone for a 4-1, but I'll say my scores in a bit.
When you said clean sheet, then I went back to all those previous connotations.
No, we don't need to go there.
You're behind it.
Martin,
behind it, Kevin.
Stop it, Martin. Stop it.
I'm not even doing that.
When you say we're behind it, wait. No, sorry. Okay, keep going.
Oh, you English. Anyway, I'm going to go with Morgan Rogers hat-trick.
Morgan Rogers hat-trick.
Wow.
Okay, that's huge. Michael says Ollie 3. So a lot of people saying Ollie multiple goals. Morgan Rogers with 2 and 1 assist to give him 10 of each and McGinn to score. Tim says 2-1 Villa, Rogers and Watkins. James is going for clean sheet as well. Mr. Green is going for a 1-0 win with Courtney Hawes, making an appearance at the key moment of the season. James says 2-0 with an Onana goal and probably an injury. Yeah, probably. Kev says 4-0 Villa. There we go. He's sticking with you, Kev. The Kevs are sticking together. Michael saying 6-0. Sharik is in the chat. Here he is. Villa and Chelsea win both the final 2 games, and we miss out on Champions League.
Sharik.
Oh, come on.
What is it with Sharik and Adam in the chat as well, being too sensible and realistic? See, Adam's last comment: if we lose to Spurs, is it over? I don't want to think about this, Adam, even though it's a really valid point. I think it is over if we lose to Spurs, Adam. Yeah, I think it is, mate. I think it is.
But we're not.
But we're not. But I think it's a must win on both games because I don't think we've got enough with the goal difference. But no, listen. I mean, Sharik, you make a valid point. They could well win both games, but I can see them dropping points somewhere.
Yeah. Steven says, bet that mic will be off screen next. It won't, mate. It's staying. It is staying. I'm sticking with my my alluring microphone, shall we say? But yes. What are the? Ulvi says, what are the? Sorry, I'm getting so many in the chat. What is the chance of Aston Villa to go to the Champions League by percentage? Wasn't it 38% or something?
It's here. It is here. It's 37.9%.
Yeah, there we go. See, 38% in old money. Yes. And I'm going a 4-1 Villa win. And let's say Ollie for 2. Yes, I agree with you all. Marlon will come on and score, and John McGinn, I think, will get a goal, and Villa will have a convincing win. As I think all agree, I think it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. I think it's going to be brilliant for the final home game of the season. I don't feel like we're going to miss this opportunity. I think we've got everything to say that we're going to go and get it. I think Unai will be getting them. They shouldn't need to get up for it. They shouldn't need to get up for it, should they? So, yeah, I think it's going to be a great win, great night, and take us into that final game of the season and put some real pressure on the teams around us. And look, boys, if anything, that last weekend's results told you that nothing is guaranteed in this race for Champions League. You know, there'll be some more twists and turns to come. Definitely so.
I was thinking that when we spoke earlier on about in the same sort of set of like dialogue we were talking about, Bournemouth dropping off. Bournemouth dropping off and therefore not being as much of a risk, in the game that they play. But then they actually beat Arsenal. Oh my God! So actually, Bournemouth have actually proven they can get up for it, and Arsenal, we're hoping, are the ones that are going to take some points off Newcastle. So, however you look at it, like you could find an argument for everything. You could argue pros and cons for every team, every team. I'm great engine 9. I'll be even better when we beat Spurs and Man United and Chelsea drop some points. Do you know what I mean? Like you could say Chelsea. Well,
this is it. This is
previous years been amongst it. They've 2 games they should win. Forest are fading. You could say Forest at home against Chelsea. You could argue it. Man City will win both those games. Man City could easily drop points. Newcastle, you can make the argument or the counter argument for all of these scenarios. But I tell you what, this team in the last 2 years, I know the cup semi-final was a huge disappointment, but generally, when we've needed to stand up and be counted and get someone over the line, generally we've done it. So I'm still supporting this team to get somewhere. And a lot of those teams around us have, they've got to be perfect to get through. We've seen the possible ways it could turn. If Chelsea get there by winning those last 2 games, you got to give them credit. You got to give them credit reluctantly.
Yeah. Well, I've got all the confidence in the Bonnie boys in claret and blue, as Gary has said. Lord. And on that note, I think we'll call it a night. Boys, thank you very much. It's been a really, really interesting, fun show. Really good fun. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for all your comments. And hopefully we get that result tomorrow night, Friday night, against Tottenham. Hit that like button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button. We'll obviously be back I'll be back with the instant reaction tomorrow. Hopefully a successful one. I'm confident it will be. Then we'll be back with Lions Raw full match reaction with the boys, fans forum, and everything else in between. So please do stay tuned to the channel. Thank you all for watching. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.